Greetings, beautiful soul, and welcome to my channel, The Optimist Hub. My name is Yanga, and today's video, I want to talk a bit about setting boundaries. Now, oftentimes I think we think that setting boundaries is somewhat selfish, but in actual fact, setting boundaries is very important. It is very important for your mental health. It is very important to protect your peace, your inner peace. It is very important to protect your sanity as well. And I think there is power in no. Oftentimes people expect that we are just readily available and that we are going to, bend over backwards for them all the time. And I think there's some sort of entitlement when it comes to that, especially when it comes to the 3 factors, which I will get into in a minute. But yeah, I think there is an element of entitlement that people have over people's existence. And this is the importance. This is where now we need to set boundaries, right? Because you setting a boundary is you protecting your peace. It is you saying, I need to look out for self first. And I don't think it's selfish to first consider yourself, right? Because at the end of the day, you want to be okay. You need to be okay with whatever it is that is required of you, that is requested of you, right? You need to be okay with whatever it is so that you can show up as best as you can. But if you are not okay with whatever it is that is being required of you, that is needed of you, the entitlement that people have over you, you're most likely not going to show up as best as you can, because you'll be acting under duress, for lack of a better word, right? And so it is very important that we establish boundaries. Setting a boundary, essentially, if we were to paint a picture, it's you saying, hey, I'm still here. I love you. I care for you. I respect you. I am here for you when you need me. However, there are certain parameters that you cannot cross, right? So it's you putting a fence around yourself, and not in the sense of wanting to isolate yourself completely, but rather it is you putting that fence to protect yourself. Because at the end of the day, yes, you can be there for other people, as we should, right? We are a community. As humans, as humanity, we are meant to, like I often say, we are all here for the betterment of each other. We are all here to uplift, to grow, to heal, to teach each other. And so, of course, we have to be available for each other. But there is a limit to it, and I think it's very important, because this helps you set time for self, helps you to be one with self, to have a moment with self, to be present with self. And that is very important when we are establishing a relationship with self, when we are cultivating a relationship with self, because we also have to have a relationship, a positive relationship with self. And so oftentimes when we bend over backwards for people and we neglect ourselves, we tend to not really have a good relationship with ourselves. And so setting boundaries helps in really strengthening the bond with self. It helps with putting yourself on a pedestal. You don't have to wait for anyone to prioritize you. Setting boundaries is about you prioritizing yourself. You need to look out for yourself, right? Like I said, when you look out for yourself, you will then, when you pour into your own cup, you're able to pour out of that very cup into other people's cup. You're able to show up for other people. The moment you are able to show up for yourself is the moment you're also able to show up for other people as well. There's a saying that Oprah once said, and I remember she said that people used to say, oh, you're so full of yourself. And she said to them, yes, I have to be full of myself. If I'm not full of myself, if my cup is not overflowing from what I'm pouring into my cup, how then do I pour into other people's cup? How then do I become of service for other people? How then do I avail myself for other people if I don't make time for self, if I don't pour into my own cup? And so this is why setting boundaries is very important. Now let's get into the 3 factors of setting boundaries. We have physical boundaries, we have emotional boundaries, as well as time, right? Physical boundaries is very simple. It's you saying, I don't want to surround myself with certain people in a certain space, or in my space, right? It's you protecting your space. You, yourself, your body, your flesh is the space. Your body is home to your soul for this limited time that we're here on earth for, right? And so protect this vessel, protect this temple, protect you. You are your own home, right? Not for long, but protect the space. So surround yourself again, or put yourself in spaces, in environments that fill your cup, that fill you up, that bring life into you, that pour into your cup, right? This is you setting a physical boundary. Again, if you don't want anyone touching you, you are also well within your rights to say, I don't want to be touched in a certain manner. If you're not into hugs because you just feel like it's too intimate, and you're sharing a lot of yourself in that situation, and someone doesn't understand, why don't you want to hug them? You are well within your rights to say, I don't do hugs. And don't you ever for a second feel guilty for expressing what you don't vibe with, right? Because at the end of the day, it's you who is left with whatever feeling that lingers, right? So if you are in discomfort, that feeling stays with you, it lingers. And so it's very important to be able to express our dislike for something. And I know and I know this for myself as well, actually. Sometimes I like to think like, oh, how will this person receive this? But at the end of the day, if I have to say something in order to protect the inner child in me, the version of me that is currently, inhabiting this body, and the future self, I have to speak up, right? It is very important that we allow ourselves to exercise our throat chakras, open the throat chakra and express and say, no, I do not feel safe. I don't feel comfortable being in this space. I don't feel comfortable being touched in a certain manner. I don't feel comfortable, just whatever physical thing that you can think of. It is very important to establish those boundaries. Also, removing yourself from toxic environments is you setting the boundary. It is you saying, I will not be played with anymore. It is you saying, I will not betray my soul and my spirit, and staying in a toxic environment that doesn't fill my cup. If anything, takes from me, right? This is the time for you to now say, I'm done with putting myself second. I now need to put myself first. That is the physical. Then we have the emotional. Again, this one is it hits home for me, right? Because I actually refer to myself as an emotional being. I'm very expressive emotionally. Anyway, so emotional, we are also looking at how you want to be related to, right? It's how you want to be addressed as well. It's like, for example, if someone doesn't address you in a manner that is kind or respectful, you are well within your rights to express that and say, I feel like you didn't address me with respect. Could you please acknowledge my existence, at least tolerate me, and address me with respect? You can express that. You're well within your rights too, right? Another one is, if you feel like you're being manipulated in one way or another, or coerced into doing something, we need to protect that version of self as well, because emotionally we tend to take in a lot, right? And we tend to harbor a lot of feelings. There are a lot of unexpressed feelings that are lingering, that often bothers us. And this is how then we, I guess, like, open the window for people to just do as they please. It's very important to set that boundary. So again, for example, if you also say, look, I don't want you to shout at me. Like, don't scold at me. I can hear you. I can hear you very well. I'm not deaf, so please fix the tone as well. I'm very tone sensitive. One thing about me, I'm very tone sensitive. I take it as an attack if you're going to come at me, if you're going to charge at me, because why are you not speaking nicely to me? And the thing is, I'm also very reactive. So I'm the type of person, so if you come to me with a high-pitched tone, I'm most likely going to also respond in that manner. I don't like that. I don't like, just being dysregulated. And that is why I prefer, if someone comes to me and they want to address a certain matter or issue, we need to be cool. Like, we need to be at the same level. Let's not have bickering and shouting and all of that, because then for me, on the receiving end, I tend to react. Yeah, and I think another one is, I don't know, I think I touched on manipulation, being taken advantage of as well. We need to set boundaries on the emotional aspect as well. So, you saying you will not, my feelings and my emotions will not be toyed with, whether it's I don't know, romantic relationships, platonic relationships, whatever other relationships out there. I think it's also very important when it comes to, this is how I deal with setting boundaries, especially on the emotional aspect. I detach and I disassociate, right? It's not something that is easy to do, but it's something that I've mastered over time, because I do take things personal, especially things that I really care about, right? So I've had to basically learn the art of disassociation. And one can actually ask, how then do you become present? How do you live in the present moment and still disassociate? I've found a way to do that, right? I can't tell you. I'm actually gonna have to sit and think about it, and I might probably come back and do a video on that once I have deciphered how exactly I got to this point. But I am able to be in the present moment and still disassociate from, you know, especially because my defense or protection mechanism, especially with setting an emotional boundary, is just that I disassociate and I detach. And I'm very like accepting of whatever. I'm not one to you know, just like, oh my god, why did this happen, why did this, and stay in that moment. I'm very like, okay, it happened, okay, let's let it go, and just let go and let God type of thing, right? And then the other one is time. Time is a scarce resource. Time is a precious resource. I always say this, your time is your currency. Time is very important, guys. It's very important to set boundaries also. Again, what you spend time on the most matters, right? And so be mindful of that. What are you spending time on? Is what you're spending time on filling your cup, or is it depleting your energy? Is it taking from you, right? Again, protect your time, protect your currency, protect your energy, protect your sanity. And another thing, saying no is a full sentence. You don't have to substantiate any further. You know, you don't have to give reasons as to why you're saying no, if you don't have to. Honestly, it can just end at no. And that's that. So 5 signs that you are in need of setting boundaries. The first is people pleasing. Now, this one is a big one, right? I think most of us have a little bit of people pleasing, right? And I think with people pleasing, it also ties in with how people perceive us. We do things because we want people to accept us, or we want permission from people, or we are wanting validation of some sort, right? So that is the first one. If you find yourself doing things for other people, if you find yourself doing things for the audience as opposed to doing things for yourself, then you need to set boundaries. Look at the 3 factors that I just mentioned, basically. And I mean, you can also go to Google or even here on YouTube and find other ways in which you can enforce those boundaries, right? Establish and then enforce those boundaries, right? So that was the first one, which is people pleasing. The second one is feeling responsible for other people's emotions. This one is a big one, right? I think oftentimes we tend to take on, I think I mentioned this earlier, we tend to take on the emotional baggage of other people, right? We tend to absorb, especially if you're an empath. I feel like as well, I am an empath, so I know that I take on other people's energies, and I need to establish that boundary. And this is why I say disassociating and detaching has become one of the ways in which I have enforced that as a form of setting the boundary, right? So again, if you see yourself you know, taking on other people's emotions, or feeling like you are responsible for someone else's sadness, regardless of how the thing that they requested of you, that they want from you, would have made you feel uncomfortable, you know, at the end of the day, if we look at the cost benefit analysis, right? So again, if the something, if that something is more of a cost to you than it is a benefit to you, you have to say no. You have to put self first. You have to put self first. You have to look out for yourself first. It's not being selfish, and being selfish is not wrong. And I think being selfish in this aspect is not wrong, because like I said, you need to look out for self first in order for you to show up as the best version of yourself, not only for yourself, for other people as well, right? So it has to be within your limits. Have your pros and cons, or have a cost benefit analysis of everything that you are doing, and see if it's something that is gonna cost you your peace, your mental health, your sanity, your joy, your happiness, your, I don't know, your stability and something, whatever it is, right? If it's going to cost you that much, if you're going to lose more of yourself than gain, then it's not worth it. Another one is if you are unable to express your personal feelings. So if your throat chakra is blocked because you are again afraid of how you're going to be perceived, or you feel like you expressing your feelings is going to hurt the other person, and that other person's potential hurt is more important than yours, then we need to look at that, right? Because at the end of the day, we need to be able to express. Again, boundaries will not be known if they're not expressed. Boundaries will not be known if they're not seen or shared, right? And so it's very important then to be able then to express your feelings or your needs, your personal needs. Another form of setting boundaries, or signs that you need to set boundaries, is if you overshare a lot. If you overshare a lot of your personal information, personal life stories, especially within a few encounters or interactions with someone you don't really have a close bond with, now that is a red flag. You definitely need to start setting boundaries, because you're just sharing information about your life you don't know. You never know if you're sharing your information, your life information, with the wrong people. I'm laughing because I have done this before. That's why I'm saying I'm also in the journey of establishing boundaries. I've always been a person that is able to express the no. I've always been able to say no. No, I don't feel like doing it. No, I don't want to do it. But the certain types of red flags that I didn't know I was guilty of, like sharing personal information. I think for me it's more of a relatability type of thing. So if I feel like, oh, we relate on this, then I just start divulging. Maybe it's time to zip it a bit, so again, just be very mindful of what you say, who you're saying this to. Do they need the information? Why do you need to share this right now with them, right? Do you have a solid relationship with this person? Do you trust them? Have you established that trust between the two of you, or the three of you, or the many people that you share the stuff with? Very important to like observe and analyze that aspect as well. And the last one, it is feeling guilty for prioritizing yourself. A lot of us, again, go through this. I think when you say no, you feel like, oh my goodness, I've let this person down. I would rather deal with the pain of not following my gut feeling, as opposed to seeing this person being sad because I said no, because I turned them down. But you see, that's the thing again, guys. When you hear a no from someone, and when you say no to someone else, you're actually giving them the opportunity to explore another avenue. You're giving them the opportunity to figure things out by themselves as well. Sometimes we need to grow by ourselves. Sometimes we need to navigate things by ourselves. Sometimes we need to figure stuff out by ourselves. I always say everything is figure outable, right? At the end of the day as well, do you have capacity for the thing that you're being asked of? Do you have the emotional capacity, the physical capacity? Do you have the time capacity, the energy capacity for whatever it is that is being required of you? And I think that's where it all stems from, and where it all ends as well. It's Do I have the capacity for this? And if you do not, then no is the answer. And there's nothing wrong with saying no. And so with that said, beautiful soul, I truly hope that today's video was very insightful for you. And if you did enjoy it, please do give it a massive thumbs up. And also please don't forget to subscribe down below and join the Optimist Hub. The Optimist Hub is all about personal development, personal growth, and a little bit of lifestyle vlogs here and there. So if this is your cup of tea and you'd like to indulge on more, please do make sure to subscribe down below. And with that said, beautiful soul, may goodness and grace lead you to greater heights of success. Namaste.